please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Well, the SGX Nifty is now up 52 points. Now, keep in mind, this is October futures, so you need to adjust for the futures premium. When the series starts, there's a decent premium. Adjust about 40 points for that premium. Spot opening somewhere around 11,045.50 is what the SGX Nifty is indicating. Yesterday, we closed at 10,977 on the Nifty spot. How should you trade? Ashwani Gujral, Mitesh Thakkar and Prakash Kaba with us. Good morning, Ashwani. If we get this kind of gap up, which more or less takes care of yesterday's decline or two-thirds of yesterday's decline, what would be your trade?
Well, good morning. And yesterday in the last half an hour or so, we pretty much hit the lower end of the range, 10,900, 950. Now from there you are getting this sharp gap up. So this is your gap up that you should chase. Now, are we going to cross 11,200? I don't know, possibly not. But right now we are sideways. So from the upper end, you get short. From the lower end, you buy. I mean, you can do a 500-700 point range on Bank Nifty and maybe 200-300 on the Nifty. So that way we are now sideways. And as we go into one of the boundaries, it will look like all hell is breaking loose. And on the upside again, people get bullish, but unlikely you are going to get great follow through beyond a point in time. So this is the time where you take positions on either side at boundaries and carry home whatever you get. But definitely the kind of downside momentum you had, it'll take a while for that to get dissipated and finally the market to bottom out, etc. That's not something that is really on the table right now.
Okay, fair enough. Good morning to you, Mitesh. What are your boundaries and what is your trade today?
Good morning, Lata. So, we've been looking at 10,880, 900 as the support and 11,150 as the resistance. I think this new level of 10,950 is emerging as important intraday pivot. So, we'll keep that as the first support area. But I think overall it still looks like a market which is consolidating after a big fall, and the range, as I said, I think now could be 10,950 to about 11,150, so a 200 point kind of range. Similarly on the Bank Nifty, it looks like 24,900, 24,850 thereabouts to about 25,500, 600 on the upside would be the range. I would still be more prone to take short positions once we are close to the upper end of the range, but for the timing I think it will be clearly stock specific trading.
Okay, Prakash Gaba is also here with us. Prakash, hi, good morning. We've seen a big fall in the mid-cap space yesterday. Do you think that we could see more pressure there? And what's the, the view on the headline index itself for the day?
Good morning to Sonia. Well, so far, yes, we have seen a lot of pressure in the mid-caps, but looks like I don't think there could be some downside here, because when I look at the entire chart structure, it tells me the few days low that we have seen is a good low to work with. It's traded within the range and above it. So we are back into consolidation zone in a bearish market. It's some kind of a bearishness is there, but we are back into consolidation. Looks like the previous low that we have had, as long as that hold, we must respect it. Possibly we see an up move. The important levels to watch would be around 11,075 or 11,080 zones. If it stays above it, there's a very good chance we can climb to around 11,208 zones. There's a good possibility we can go there. For that to happen, it needs to open higher and close and stay above 11,075 or 80 zones. So far, it looks okay to me. If it still stays down, I think there's a support out there. Next week, perhaps a truncated week, perhaps we would have a sluggish move.
Okay. Let's talk about individual stocks. Ashwani, before we go through your list, your thoughts on NBFCs, how to play the bigger ones now, and what's on your own list?
See, my sense is they will underperform even in the rally. I mean, if you see, most of them are at fresh lows, while the Nifty, Bank Nifty have kind of stopped falling. So you'll get very mild rallies, and people will again come back to sell. Because the selling gets done once everybody is out. I don't think everybody is out, because you can't sell something if it's 7, 8, 10% lower every day. So basically the second, third rung is going to the cleaners. Even the large caps, you could have another 5 to 8% fall on things like Bajaj Finance, etc. So that remains a weak group, and that is where the safest short positions are, chances are, the NBFC rally will end before the Nifty or Bank Nifty ends.
Okay, so let's also get some more stock ideas, right? Mitesh, what would be on your list this morning?
Yeah. I have a mix of buys and sells. Amongst the buy side, I have Reliance, where the intraday charts are quite positive. Keep a stop at 1239, look for 1282 as the target. Bata looks like it's giving a reversal from oversold levels, so that's a buy with a very tight stop at 974, look for targets of 1000. A couple of sell calls. CESC looks like a sell. It's broken very key support levels of 885 to about 880, so sell with a stop at 891, look for a first target of 840, and a sell on Gen Irrigation. Try to sell it around 73, use a stop at 75.5 and look for targets of around 66.
Okay. Ashwani, you told us your NBFC view, but which stocks would you handle?
Well, TCS is a buy with a stop of 2160, target of 2230. HUL is a buy with a stop of 1600, target of 1655. Reliance Infra is a sell with a stop of 308, target of 293. Balkrishna Industries a sell with a stop of 1060, target of 1000. And L&T Finance remains a sell with a stop of 128, target of 120.
Okay,
And any advice for those who may be sitting with short positions on Yes Bank? I'm sure there are many.
It depends on what kind of margin you have on your short.
Okay.
I mean, if the margin is, say, 100 points, 120 points, then I don't think there is a great amount of problem. But if your margin is, 10 bucks and 15 bucks, then you should have taken it off yesterday. Okay. But overall, I think even Yes Bank will rally for a while, and that rally will indicate to you how strong is the bounce back. I don't think, stocks which have a bit of a controversy going on, people are going to mess with them.
Okay, fair enough. Prakash, good morning. What are your stocks?
Good morning, Anuj. I'll go with two longs to short. Adani Enterprise looks good, seen a good fall, the good place to bounce if it has to. Targets on the upside in the vicinity of 150 zones, stop below 138. Bata is also a stock on my list, looks good. We have a target of around 1000 to 1010 zones, stop below 970 should be okay. Two shorting ideas, I'll go with Idea, that's a weak stock. And I think it's sliding down to levels closer to 30. Maybe you take a day or two for that. Stop above 40 should be okay. Another weak stock is Reliance Power. No strength at all. Looks like it's cracking down to levels closer to 20. Stop about 27.
Okay, so that's a sell coming in on Reliance Power. These these ADAG group stocks have been under pressure for the last many days. But let's do one thing. Yeah.
Just one second. Before we do that, I just wanted one more stock check with Ashwani, Sonia, before that. Ashwani, Maruti, that's the one which I wanted to discuss with you because the fall has been rather crunching. It had a one-day rally that was sold into, and yesterday we had a fresh 52-week low on the stock, 75.50. Your thoughts on the stock?
See, everything will go through a pullback. And again, those pullbacks will define how strong something is. I think Maruti, Yes Bank, they should have shallow pullbacks, maybe a couple of 100, 200, 250 points on Maruti, but it'll be difficult for it to sustain beyond, 8,000, 8,050. Yeah, the best pullbacks will come in things like Reliance, which are still holding their 50-day MAs. Things which are below their 200-day moving averages will get into trouble because the strong hands will not come back out there.
Okay. And just another question, Mitesh, what will be the leaders towards 11,200 if the market were to move? Ashwani had, I think, TCS and HUL in his, in his buy list. What else can lead the market higher? Reliance?
Yes, I think Reliance has been on the buy list for the last 2-3 days. It's holding out very nicely in a falling market, and the pattern is slowly and steadily improving, and the indicator strength is also improving. So I would definitely bet on Reliance, apart from some of IT names like TCS, Infosys, and HUL. I'm not very sure about, but I think the IT pack and the pharma pack still looks to me which would keep on outperforming. Having said that, there could be some also buying on the oversold names. So maybe you will see a bank nifty head towards 25,500, 25,600. That will also contribute nicely towards the nifty up move. But my sense is that overall, weakness will come in after this consolidation plays out, and it will still be more profitable to possibly short at higher levels and explore, negative positions in banking and auto names.
All right, gentlemen, thanks for that. We're going to come back and ask you some more, stock ideas. But for now, in a CNBC TV18 exclusive, the Kerala Finance Minister Thomas Isaac clears the speculation on the 1% national cess on sin goods and says that the idea is proposed by the government. Listen in.
The Finance Minister, Revenue Secretary, Expenditure Secretary, and so on, 2 days back in Delhi. And Union Finance Minister was gracious enough to propose that we have a national cess on sin goods.
Okay.
Now, this won't be some isolated case or exceptional case for Kerala. There will be demands like this for state governments in various parts of the country due to natural calamities. And all states should together support them. Now, if it is a national cess, you don't have to put it for many months, perhaps a month, 2 or 3 months. We should gather sufficient revenue and then drop it. So it will be, as and when time occurs, when need rises, we have a special cess for disaster.
I just want to understand this better, sir. You said that you had a meeting with the finance minister, with the revenue secretary, with the expenditure secretary. So the idea of a national cess on sin goods for a period of about 2 to 3 months was an idea that has been put forward by the centre?
That's right, the Union Finance Minister, because central government a few months back had put forward an idea of a cess for sugar. Then I had objected to it, saying that rubber growers in my state also require special support.
Welcome back, and now this is a big CNBC TV18 exclusive. JSW Steel is going to make its entry into the Nifty today, and our colleague Nigel D'Souza caught up with the chairman and managing director of the group, Sajjan Jindal. He has spoken about the recent weakness of the rupee and the impact on steel companies, the possibility of higher duties for steel imports, JSW Steel's own expansion plans, and of course, whether he would tap into the equity markets, especially for all the distressed assets coming up for sale. Listen.
I'm not a great admirer of rupee weakening. I believe that if the rupee weakens, though momentarily we may all feel that it gives us more protection, our exports fetches us more rupees, but I don't like it. I feel that rupee weakening is weakening of our country.
Okay.
So country's economy. So I'm a big fan of a stronger rupee. Maybe temporarily we will all face music or face difficulties, but eventually a country will strengthen, and so I'm always. But this time the rupee has partly weakened also because dollar has actually strengthened globally against, if you see, all the currencies.
There is talk that we're going to see added duties coming in for the steel industry, maybe an increase of around 2.5% to around 5% approximately. Does that protect the industry? Would you push that agenda forward?
Not really. I mean, if it happens, it's okay. But I don't think that's really going to matter, because today we are sitting quite pretty. Prices are at good, reasonable level. Global prices are at reasonable level, and there is no need for any protection for the Indian steel industry.
Well, that's an interesting point, sir, you made. And also, want to take that point forward about Japan as well as South Korea. Now, that's from where bulk of our imports are coming in there. Nearly around 60% of our imports, at least in the last couple of months, are coming in from these FTA countries. Could there be a probable proposal to tinker with the FTA, maybe get steel out of the FTA? Could that be a possibility?
So today it looks okay in the sense that, because as I said, the prices are at good level and we are able to sustain our businesses, and Japan, Korea at 0% duty is exporting into India. We are not complaining much. But when the markets go bad, both these countries, Japan and Korea, are nearly 50% surplus. In the sense they consume only 50% in their home market and 50% they export. And signing such kind of agreement with these countries is very damaging to India. So I'm sure that the government is quite agile to this whole concept. And if they see too much of steel coming in from Japan and Korea into India, then they would be definitely, either they would be taken out of the FTA or they will be anti-dumping on those countries.
JSW Steel's capacity was less than 2 million in 2002. Today it's closer towards 20 million tons, and by 2020 we'll be on the verge of maybe going to around 24 million tons or thereabouts. Where is it headed? If you could tell us the targeted capacity in India, and what about the globe? There have been various acquisitions that you've made even in the United States. There is some expansion in Europe as well.
JSW has probably one of the strongest balance sheet in the steel industry globally, and so therefore we are really thinking of taking this to the next level, and we have already announced plans to take our capacities to 25 million tons without the inorganic growth, and with inorganic growth hopefully to 30 million tons, and then our vision plan is that by 2025 we want to be a 40 million ton steel company out of India. And plus probably 8 or 10 million tons we will have overseas.
JSW Steel is on the prowl for sure. We have seen that in the past year or so. Not been very successful actually in a couple of acquisitions, but at least you've got Monat Ispat out there. Tell us, how aggressive is JSW Steel going to be in terms of Bhushan Power and Steel? Is that an asset you want?
So we've been very I would say realistic in our acquisition strategy. We have never looked at that it's a must buy kind of thing, because we don't feel that there is anything which is a must buy. Right. We don't want to regret at a later date that we overpaid and today we are suffering because we took a decision in few years ago. We had taken a decision in 2008 and acquired a plate mill in the US, and we regret it even today. That's true for anything. If you want to buy a stock, you must not buy a stock at the peak of the cycle, right?
The street, Mr. Jindal, has been waiting whether or not JSW Steel, being such a big outperformer, is it going to come ahead and tap the equity markets, or is JFE going to come and take a larger part of the listed company JSW Steel? Is a QIP in the works?
So no, so there is no plan for any equity raise as of today, because as I said, we have enough cash generation to handle our capital expenditure program. And also JFE, we have not made any plans to to give more equity to JFE. I think JFE is very comfortable at 15%. And we are also very comfortable with JFE holding 15%.
The promoter group is clearly very bullish on the stock. I was just looking at the Bombay Stock Exchange and the disclosures out there. And in fact, the promoters have bought a couple of lakh shares, even though the stock is at a lifetime high. What's the targeted shareholding out there?
There is no real target, but we whatever surpluses the promoter group gets in their annual account, we tend to, rather than investing outside the group, we believe that the best investment is in your own self. So, which is not true with most groups, right? So they invest in, they do diversify their portfolio. My son doesn't like it to increase our own holding, but I believe that there cannot be anybody better than me to invest in a business. So I'm investing in my own business. So therefore, we've been doing it over the last 4-5 years. So we don't have any target. At 42%, we are very comfortable. But if we were 51, we would be better off. But I don't think the numbers really matter to me. It is that I don't even come into picture, because we have our family office which keeps deciding. But my instruction to them is that don't invest outside the group.
Okay, that's JSW Steel that enters the Nifty today. Let's see how that one plays out. Also, there's a new listing today, by the way, so we'll keep our eye out on that. IRCON lists today, and it will be the second railway PSU to be listed after RITES that listed earlier this year. So we'll track that closely as well. Chandan Taparia of Motilal Oswal Securities joins in to give us some F&O cues for the day. Chandan, hi, good morning. What would be the stock-specific trades for today?
Good morning. We have seen sharp selling in the September series. And however, the trend is still pressure, but some consolidation could be seen at the lower levels. So looking at the trading idea, first trade will be buy on Bata India. After the decline of last 3-4 weeks, the stock has taken support and surpassed its falling supply trend line. It formed a positive price candle and also respecting to its immediate support trend line. So because of all this occurrence and price setup, the stock can move on higher side. So recommending to go long with a stop loss of 975, 972, and the stock can move towards 1035 kind of level. Second trade, that will be from the metal space. We have seen better rollover and the built up of long position in the metal space. So most of the metal stocks are likely to attract buying interest in the next series. So Vedanta is on radar. The stock has given a consolidation breakout, holding the gains. Put writing activity is visible. We have seen the buying interest in last 2-3 trading sessions, and this metal sector is holding the gains even after the market decline. So some sort of outperformance or innate strength is now visible after a long time. So Vedanta is the buy recommendation, but looking at the volatile scenario, one can go with the bull call spread by buying 240 call, selling 250 call. So in the entire spread, one has to pay the premium of 4 rupees. To reduce the risk, one can keep the spread stop loss of 1.5 and can put the spread target of 8 rupees. So almost 1:1.8 risk reward ratio for going long trade in the bull call spread of the Vedanta. Third trade, that will be on the Tata Motor. The stock has been making lower top, lower bottom formation. Every small bounce back is being sold, and we have seen built up of short position and shorts are rolling to the next series, so which indicates more weakness could be seen. And in fact, the Nifty Auto Index is making head and shoulder on the weekly scale, which is showing some weakness to continue in going trading session. So Tata Motors is a negative idea. One can trade with put, one can buy 220 put near to 7 rupees, put a stop loss of 3, and this put can move to us 15 to 16 rupees.
All right, Chandan, thanks a lot for those trading ideas. Sanjeev Bhasin of IIFL is now joining us. Sanjeev, good morning. Anything that you are picking up in this NBFC rubble right now?
Yeah, good morning. So Anuj, Bajaj Finance, Mahindra Finance are two names which as a disclosure we put out a buy at 2200 on Bajaj Finance and Mahindra. We think these will be two of the best performing on the large caps. And on the smaller ones, we are very bullish on L&T Finance and Equitas. Both little different names, but given the guidance which we saw and the interaction, we think these four can be huge outperformers. On the Nifty, personally, I think 10,855 is a 50% retracement, and I think that has played in most of the negatives as far as the rupee bond yields and the IL&F fiasco. Sooner rather than later, rupee will stop making the headlines, as will bond yields once they come below 8%, and I think that second half of October onwards, market should be in much better shape.
Okay, Sanjeev, well, I wanted to ask you what your in-house view is on NBFCs now. You all may have an idea of whether the liquidity moves improve the debt market in any fashion. So is it time now to start picking NBFCs at all?
So Lata, it tells you that where the pain point or the plus delta was, most mutual funds had huge overweights, and unfortunately everyone pressed the exit door. Now whether it's DHFL or a Yes Bank or a, the other gamut, we still think that quality names should be chased along with some higher beta delta. So that's why we suggested you these four names. Like you rightly pointed out, I think now rupee is not making those big headlines, and that has been defended well. Bond yields are again looking much more positive at 8.02, and I think once they break 8, you'll see ample liquidity come in the next 2 to 3 weeks. This is the busy season. Government knows that credit offtake and so on for the festive season will pick up. So 3-4 names which we suggested look very good, and we are not that negative on the market. We are rather sanguine with an upward bias in the second half of October.
Okay, Sanjeev, hi, good morning. What about auto names? Because, the Maruti, Eicher Motors, M&M, all these stocks have fallen about 10 to 15% this month. Would you buy any of these names now?
Yeah, so Sonia, we are suggesting 5-6 large cap names as a basket in this fall. You can't time it to perfection. So ITC, Reliance, L&T, Maruti, Ultratech and JSW Steel. You can add a Sun Pharma or a Lupin depending on your appetite. We think they fit the bill perfectly. Maruti perfectly because at 7,700 it would have priced in most of the negatives, and we know the Kerala floods have been a huge denter on the on their volume outtake. But we think that sooner rather than later this is an opportunity to get into Maruti. On the other autos, we would be rather sanguine because we think that if you wanted to play that, we are rather playing Motherson Sumi at 250. We think the risk reward here, given the weakness and the guidance from BMW, all get priced in, and we think that they have spread their eggs well in their basket. So Motherson Sumi from the OEM would be one of our, as a disclosure, this is our top buy around these levels.
Okay. Is it time to, perhaps buy Interglobe or Jet yet, Sanjeev, or complete avoid?
Yeah, good point. Unfortunately, even though we see the best performing sector being airport traffic, airline stocks have only lost wealth, unfortunately. So Anuj, as a dark horse, I am very bullish on GMR Infra. I have had some meetings, I have researched some papers, and I think the pedigree work they are doing in the airport front, along with the land monetization, should make this stock at least a doubler in the next 1 year. So I don't normally suggest small names, but I would rather play this aviation and this air traffic story through the airport route. And I think GMR is only getting more and more pedigree, and its reach is going now from India and subcontinent to other places. So I would take a dark horse play on GMR at 15 for a target of 30 by next Diwali.
Okay, well, Sanjeev, just stay on. There's another issue that we want to discuss. Reports suggest that minority shareholders have rejected the reappointment of Neeraj Kanwar as the MD of Apollo Tyres. Amit Tandon, the MD of IIES, joins us on the phone line to talk about that. Amit, hi, good morning. Do you think the reappointment could go through because 72% voted in favour of Neeraj Kanwar, or won't it be that simple legally? Amit, good morning. Is my voice reaching you?
The subscriber you have called.
Okay, well, we'll try and touch base with him once again. But that seems to be another issue. Sanjeev, you want to come in on this? I mean, this is the debate now. I mean, minority shareholders have still voted more than 72% in favour of Neeraj Kanwar. But as we know, the number of yeses should be 3 times the number of no's. So there is that sort of legal angle involved. For a shareholder of Apollo Tyres, how do you approach it?
So I think it will get passed over. I think Neeraj Kanwar, not that I have too much of interaction, but I think, Sonia, like that's what we are saying. If there are pain points, we know them well described in the shape of a weaker rupee, and secondly, the imponderables of the Kerala flood, which have definitely affected Apollo Tyres working. But, at 220, 225, this is the time where all the imponderables get priced in. I would actually stick my neck out to buy Apollo Tyre, given that we think auto volume should be much stronger going ahead. So I'm not aware of Mr. Neeraj Kanwar's, whatever the issues, but I think there have been an able management team, and I would repose confidence in the management.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to you with more questions, Sanjeev. We have to take a break, and we are going to get the pre-opening rates. We'll also have Mr. S.P. Tulsian joining us.